Hi again. So we're still staying on section 2, and we're talking about forgiveness and how it's connected to brokenness. And life that we've decided we want for ourselves sometimes goes along very smoothly, and we overcome many things. And then there are other times where we just continue to trip ourselves up. One of the ways that I like to tell people to work on different problems is, first of all, there's a couple of things that I have kind of in my arsenal that whenever somebody tells me they're having a problem with A, B, and C, I will kind of refer them to these different things. And one of those things is some book work on things that they're dealing with. You would be very, very surprised at how limited your thought processes are when you're just thinking on things on your own. Because you don't want to talk about it. Maybe you don't want to talk about it. We were talking about the topic of sexual abuse. Sexual abuse, I only use that because that is a very big thing. When I worked in drug rehabilitation, they told me about 90% of the women that came through had been sexually abused, sexually molested. So the reason for the drug problems, or partial reason for it, they made the choices. I know lots of people who have had horrific things happen to them sexually from relatives, and I've seen them do nothing but triumph their whole entire lives. So they beat the odds and they overcame that. Well, that might not be you. You might be a little bit more sensitive to different things, and you might not be able to just kind of overcome it like it's no big deal, because it definitely is a big deal. And it's a big deal for those people too that are triumphant in majority of the things they do and very successful. But that, like I said, that might not be the case for you. So what do you do? How do you become successful? I always say that happiness is a fleeting emotion, and there's people that don't agree with me on that, and that's completely okay. I think the thing that we try to aim for is satisfaction in our life. Lots of people want money. They figure if they have money, then they would be happy. And if they had a relationship, then they'd be happy. But, I've had all of those things, and I still had areas where I was not happy and I was not satisfied with my life. And I realized that there was little things in the portions of my day that made me happy. Going shopping made me happy. Being with my children made me happy. But eventually, when I went back to being with myself in my own head, there wasn't a satisfaction there. There was a missing thing that was there, and I couldn't quite figure out what it was or where it came from. And at times I didn't even want to pay attention to it because it hurt too much to look at it and to really see it for what it was. And so I let that keep me on the edge of being unproductive because of fear of what somebody would tell me, a fear of having to relive those moments in my head and having them dictate to me that I really am who I think I am. I'm a piece of garbage, and I'm this and I'm that, and that's just not the case. Us as people, we live inside of our head all the time, and we try to communicate our thoughts, our feelings, and emotions. And when we're not received properly, that registers as rejection, which is also another topic that we're going to be covering in these little series and stuff. So we still are connecting with forgiveness. One of the things that I recommend is recommend there be some book work. I also recommend that you find somebody to counsel with. Now, counseling doesn't mean that you're crazy. It doesn't mean that you're going to be in it for forever. What if they put me on meds? What if they this and what if they that? Okay, well, we talk about medical professionals, but you also need to understand within yourself, you have a mind, you can study, you can find good resources for the things that you need. Not everybody's body reacts the same. I take Prozac. Prozac works amazing for me. I love it. It's I've never been this kind of person before, and then I got a divorce and everything came down, and I was no longer the stable person that I always had attempted to be. And that was very weakening for me, and that was very humbling for me to reach up and ask for help when I was the person who would always have the answer and always be able to help other people in order to get past these things. But now it was my turn. It was my turn to examine what it was that I needed in my life that kept me from feeling that I could be successful, feeling that I could be the parent that I needed to be, or the person I needed to be in my life for other people. And sometimes people will not even be concerned about that. And that's okay, because this is your personal journey. And your personal journey sometimes requires you to open up that thing and shed some light on it. One of the biggest problems that we have is that living in secrecy is one of the things that keeps us bound. And so if you want to join me on the next session, we will absolutely explore being bound by those things.